Okay, let's talk about linear equations. Right, the first thing we want to be able to do is from multiple representations, we need to be able to find the slope. So if I want to find the slope in an equation, remember if I have y equals mx plus b, m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Okay, so if I have f of x equals uh, 2.5x plus 5, remember y and f of x mean the same thing. So your slope is the coefficient of x, so your slope is 2.5. In our next problem, if you have s of t equals 11 over 3 minus 2 over 5x, remember this can be written as s of t is equal to negative 2 over 5t plus 11 over 3. So your slope is going to be negative 2 over 5. Now, if you're looking at a graph, you need to find a point on the left, find 2 points on the line, and then you move from the point on the left to the point on the right. Okay, so here, and the definition of slope you're going to use here is your slope is going to be your vertical change divided by your horizontal change. So if I start here at this point, and I want to find another point that is nice on a grid line. My vertical change, if I want to go from here to here. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, so that means my vertical change is down 3, and my horizontal change is to the right 1, which means it's a positive 1, so m is just negative 3. And we'll get to doing it from other representations later. Okay, if I want to find the x-intercepts, it's where it crosses the x-axis. So the x-intercept, and you want to write it as an ordered pair, is the point 2, 0. The y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis, so my y-intercept is 0, negative 4. Okay, the intercepts on this one. My x-intercept again is 2, 0, so my x-intercept is 2, 0. Where it crosses the y-intercept is 0, 3, is 0, 3. Okay, so we want to be able to find the x and y intercepts from an equation in standard form. So for the x-intercept, find the x-intercepts and graph the equations. All right, so for the x-intercept, you're going to let the y equal 0 because for the x-intercept, the value of y is always 0. So that's going to be 2x plus 3 times 0 equals 6. That tells me that 2x is equal to 3. So x is equal to 6, so x is equal to 3. Oh, and I'm sorry, that's negative 6, excuse me. So it's negative 3. So it is going to be negative 3, 0. For the y-intercept, I'm going to let x equal 0. So that gives me 2 times 0 plus 3y is equal to negative 6. 3y is negative 6, so y is negative 2, so it's the point 0, negative 2. So if I'm asked to draw a graph of this, if I want to graph a line, I can just find my intercepts and connect the dots. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, so the point -3, 0 is right here. And 0, -2 is right here. And now I just connect my dots. Okay, so if I want to write an equation in slope-intercept form, is y equals mx plus b. Okay, so if I'm looking at that equation, I want to find a line that has a slope of -2/5 and a y-intercept of 0, -1. This tells me that m is -2/5 and b is -1. So my equation is y equals -2/5 x plus -1, which is just y equals -2/5 x minus 1. If I'm given the equation in standard form, what I have to do here is I have to solve for y. Okay, so to get the y by itself, I'll first subtract 4x from both sides. That gives me -12y is equal to -4x plus 12. Then I divide each piece of this by -12, and I get my equation as y equals -4 divided by -12 is a positive 1/3 x. 12 divided by -12 is -1. Okay, now if it says find an equation, that means it can be in point-slope form, which is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1, or in slope-intercept, which is y equals mx plus b. Now, if you're given 2 points, here you need to have a point and a slope. And here you need to have a slope and a y-intercept. So if you're given 2 points, you're going to want to start with this. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you need a slope. And you're just going to use the slope formula for that. Remember that your slope is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so let's call this x1, y1, x2, y2. So your slope is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. That gives us -2 over -4, which is 1/2. Now I can use this slope, and I can use either one of the points that I want. And I can now write my equation. So I know y minus something is equal to my slope times x minus something. All right, so it's y minus y1 is equal to my slope, which is 1/2 times x minus x1. Now, with these instructions, as far as I'm concerned, you're done. However, if you want to continue on with this and put it into slope-intercept form, then you can solve for y. So this becomes y minus 4 is equal to 1/2 x minus 1. When I add 4 to both sides, this becomes y equals 1/2 x plus 3. So if it doesn't say a specific form, you can do this or this. All right, this is the same thing here. So let's see. So my slope, we'll call this x1, y1, x2, y2. So my slope is going to be x2 minus x1 divided by y2 minus y1. That gives me negative 5 plus 1 divided by negative 4 plus 3, which is negative 4 over negative 1, which is 4. So I've found my slope. And again, I'll just use this point. It doesn't matter which one you use. You get the same thing either way. All right, so this becomes y minus something equals m times x minus something. So y minus y1 is equal to my slope times x minus x1. So just to clean it up a little bit, this becomes y plus 1 is equal to 4 times x plus 3. So if you continue on with this, this becomes y plus 1 equals 4x plus 12. Subtract 1 from both sides and you get y equals 4x plus 11. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing here, x1, y1, x2, y2. So my slope is equal to negative 7 minus 4 divided by 1 minus 1, which is negative 11 over 0, which is undefined. This means this is a vertical line, which is y equals some number. I'm sorry, x equals some number, excuse me. So my x is equal to 1, so the equation is x equals 1. And remember, if it's a horizontal line, the slope is 0. The y values would be the same, and it would be y equals whatever that value is. Oh, and that leads us to our next example. Oops. All right, x1, y1, x2, y2. So my slope is 3 minus 3 divided by 6 minus negative 2, which is 0 over 8, which is 0. That means it is a horizontal line. And the equation is y equals a number. So in this situation, the y is 3. Okay, so let's see if we can use the point-slope form in an equation. All right, a company that manufactures computer keyboards has fixed costs of $3,500 per day and total cost of $8,000 per day when 500 keyboards are made. Okay, write an equation that relates the cost to the number of keyboards. Okay, well, if we're using point slope form or we're writing an equation for this, I'm going to need 2 points. Okay, that's just a given. I'm going to need 2 points. Okay, so let's see what I have here on this and while I'm focusing. All right, so we have fixed costs of $3,500 per day. And then we have, so that's a fixed cost. And then we have a total cost of $8,000 when 500 keyboards are made. All right, so we want to write an equation that relates the cost to the number of keyboards. So we're writing, we'll let C equal cost and K equal the number of keyboards. So we're going to write an equation, and we can write it C of K equals. Okay, so we're going to have to figure this out. All right, so to write an equation, we're going to need 2 points. So we can do a table of that. So we can do the number of keyboards, and we can do C of K. And we have the information we need here. All right, if it's a fixed cost, that means 0 keyboards have been made. So that would be like overhead or whatever the cost of doing business is before they manufacture anything. So if 0 keyboards are made, then the cost is $3,500. This tells us that when 500 keyboards are made, the cost is $8,000. So now I can find my slope is equal to my y2 minus y1, so 8,000 minus 3,500 divided by 500 minus 0, which gives us 8,000 minus 3,500 is 4,500 divided by 500, which is 9. Okay, so what that means is you're going to have fixed costs of $3,500. And then every keyboard you make costs you $9 in addition to that. Okay, so I've have my slope now, and this is my y-intercept. So my function C of k is equal to $9 for each keyboard plus my initial cost of $3,500. So that's my equation. Okay, now if I want to graph this, I'm only going to draw a graph in the first quadrant because anytime I'm dealing with real life, I'm only dealing with the first quadrant. Okay, so this is going to be the number of keyboards, and this is going to be the cost. Well, I have 2 points on here. So let's see. I want to go up to 8,000. I'm gonna do this real quick and dirty. So I'm gonna do this. This would be 4,000. This would be 8,000. And I want to go from 0 to, let's do 200, 400, 600. Okay, so I'm going to plot the point 0, 3,500 and the point 500, 8,000. And then I'll just connect my dots. Okay, so interpret the slope and y-intercept in terms of the variable. Okay, well, we kind of already did that, but the slope is the cost to produce each keyboard, and the y-intercept is the fixed cost before producing any keyboards. Whoops. Okay, time to switch videos.